Hello, Mr. CEO Morrow. I am the Director of Relations, Francisco Leyva at Marina Bay Sands here in Singapore. And about us, we are the crown jewel in Singapore with the amazing skyline. Since our inauguration in 2010, it is a beautiful location. When people fly in, it's an immediate eye grabber, our resort. Now, I know we are currently going through a transition phase here in 2024. With a couple of the struggling financials that we are dealing with getting tourism back in since COVID has happened. It's been a struggle to get people back in, but that is why currently we are going through this transition. But we are also a high-class resort with areas for relaxation, shopping, and gambling. It is a multi-tooled resort that should be bringing a lot of tourism and to the area, not just for the looks of it, but for the amenities that we do offer. Now, I know we also, our focus is not just only on tourism, but is with the philanthropy and community work around Singapore. We don't want to just thrive as a resort, but we want the whole community of Singapore around us to thrive as well. The issue I want to bring up to you today, Mr. Morrow, is the guest experience and reviews on a decline. Our reviews are on a negative pace. They are not meeting expectations on where we should be at. And I believe part of that is because guests don't have personalization during visits. We are not able to accommodate consistently on a basis of rather than guests having to repeat themselves, or we don't have ways to be able to wow the guests rather than them having to constantly ask for it. And I believe also with that is the staff is not properly trained. They're not properly trained to have this kind of guest experience that we need to have for the type of resort that the guests are expecting when they walk in. It's such a beautiful everything when they come in. Amenities, the skyline view, the rooms. Our guest experience needs to match that, and it does start with the staff as well. A solution I believe is bringing a program that gets the reservations and remembers guest preference when those reservations are booked. Now that could be, the front desk agents typing in, "Hey, this guest prefers extra towels," or "Hey, this guest prefers, valet or someone walking into the room." We need to have those preferences in each reservation. That way, we are one step ahead of the game. And we need to have better training programs for new hires. That is getting these employees ready for the expectations and the next step moving forward that I believe this resort should take. And then also updating training modules for employees every 6 months. We need to have refreshments for employees that they know, hey, look, this is what we're going to do going forward still. And reminders, hey, that if things do change in the hospitality industry, because it is always changing, we will make adjustments in those refresher training programs as well. And also, we need to improve operational efficiency. That's including keyless entry, that's online check-in and checkouts. Any operational efficiency that we can improve to where it helps guest experience, we need to have that, have those ideals put in place. Also, amplifying positive reviews. There is some negative ones, but if we are able to generate a team that will be able to amplify these positive reviews, we need to find a way to do that. And getting a team in place, I believe, is the way to go. Now, implementing these changes, we will have to assess key areas in this hospitality resort that are the issues at Marina Bay. That will be taking each department separately and giving them for them to give us their opinion on what needs to be changed or fixed or altered a little bit. But there will be an assessment going on. And then making key goals that are attainable for us and giving that back to each department. Now, for example, getting positive reviews up from 6% 1 month to the next. That is, helping the NPS score. That is helping customer satisfaction. If we are doing everything right, these goals should be attainable, especially getting positive reviews up. Train staff to the high expectations and standards that the guests and we as a whole are going to want. Um, And that is just a training program and refreshing it. Get guest feedback consistently on changes and their experience. Now, being able to get surveys out, being able to interact with the guest and see how they're what's going on, see how they're doing is very important before it is finalized and they leave and we can't fix it and we can't fix the issue and everything is set in stone to where they have made a judgment on the resort going forward. If it's a negative one, we have to have steps to be able to resolve it or stop it before it is interchangeable, because the hospitality industry is very competitive and every guest that walks through that door we need to have the chance to bring them back. And then again, I'm harping on it because it's very important. Quarterly review of training programs and guest service. The employees are our biggest asset when it comes to this resort, because they are the ones going to be constantly interacting with the guests, and how they make the guests feel is very key in any resort, especially when these guests are on vacation. Now, a lot of employees come in thinking they want to change the world. But if we can let them know they can change a guest's world in a positive way, then the world is in their hands. And we need to harp on these positive interactions between guests and employees. Now, the timeline, I gave us a year timeline to be able to incorporate these changes, because we are already going through a transition period of where we're trying to get revenue up, where we're trying to get our guest experience up, NPS score up. So I gave us a year, with month one being able to assess the areas that need improvement for the guest experience. Month two, implementing new goals for staff. Again, pre-shift meetings, letting them know, hey, look, this is our goal for today. But incorporating them and implementing them every day is very important in month two, to start getting the shift change in the guests and in the employees that, hey, look, there's going to be changes, but these are going to be the goals that we're going to try to achieve. And then in month three and four, giving them the tools and the empowerment to be able to do that. And that's with training the staff and mapping out potential improvements. Like I put in keyless entry, and that's technological improvements. But when we're mapping these things out, the employees can see, hey, look, these are going to be the changes that we're going to be incorporating, and this is how you can help. And in months 5 through 6, implementing these new organizational operations, getting the program to have personal preference, getting personalized, stays for each guest, and finding ways that if things go wrong, giving the staff the empowerment to find ways to fix these changes for the staff, for the guest. And month 7 through 12, closely monitoring these changes to organizational operations along with staff engagement with customers to see if goals are being met. Now, this is obviously, each month is important, but this is very important because we want to make sure everything we are doing in each month is going to generate a return on investment, uh, NPS score going up, guest satisfaction going up. So month 7 through 12 is going to be kind of seeing things unwind. And if we see something, or we hear customer feedback or manager feedback about certain areas, this is our chance to kind of take a step back of, okay, how can we change it before things go too far? And making sure that the steps we are taking, it's kind of a reward process, making sure things are going as planned. Now, the cost, training and development is going to cost. Upgrades to overall operations, guest experience, technology, room keyless entries, online check-in and checkouts is going to cost. Getting input from different platforms from guests, like I said, having that team involved that specifically for that area is going to be costly. Hiring a social media team to handle and respond to every guest, those two kind of go hand in hand. Um, they are going to be responsible in making sure that we hear that feedback and we have a chance to act on it. Risk, with being hospitality, being a human business, it's always changing. There's always things going on, and it could be there could be negative annotations with the new technological advancements in the resort. Employees may need more training to meet expectations, which could be costly. Guest experience could see a jump, which taper off to no growth. We don't want to reach a pinnacle and then just kind of taper off. There's always that risk, but we need to take actions to make sure that doesn't happen. And upgrading guest preference and operational proficiency with no change in positive reviews. So making sure that we are efficient and we can maintain efficiency, but there's also a risk where what we do won't change anything. But I believe that is highly unlikely. Key metrics for success, like I stated before, the NPS score, net promoter score, needs to be between 55 and 70. If we're in that range, then we are doing something right. Customer retention, if we are getting repeat guests coming back, we know we are doing something right, especially with the guest personalized stays, personalized preference. With those metrics, we'll be okay. Customer satisfaction, guest satisfaction needs to be at 5 stars. There is no wiggle room for that on the CSAT. There needs to be 5 stars. And social media engagement, there needs to be a positive engagement from guests, maintaining a 4.5 rating on key platforms, and having that key group that we will establish will be able to help us maintain that. Thank you, Mr. CEO Morrow. Thank you again. I hope you like my presentation, and I'd love to hear from you soon. Thank you.